What's up, everyone? We are going to be talking about WQL today. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so first off, what is WQL? WQL is a SQL-esque like syntax that is able to retrieve Workday data into your apps and integrations. We're going to use the WQL API to essentially achieve that by pulling data into both a PMD page and an orchestration, and I'll show you how to do both of those. But before that, we want to be able to identify our data sources and then test this in the REST API Explorer. So first, in the REST API Explorer, the particular API that we're going to be using is the WQL v1, the data operation. So it has a quick sample here, select worker from all workers, and we can go ahead and click try. It's going to have us connect to a tenant, and then it's going to pull back some data, which is the workers from all workers. So I want to now add some more fields to this particular select statement. Where do I get that information? In my tenant, I can use the data sources report to get all the different data sources that I'll be able to use. I'm going to look up the all workers data source, which was the sample for us on the REST API Explorer. And then we're going to add some additional fields to that select statement. So when I go into this data source, I can see the WQL alias that we're going to be using within the select statement, and that's already shown here in the sample of that all workers. So that's essentially what we're going to be using within our select statement, these WQL aliases within the data source report. So now we need to find what additional fields we want to use to put into this select statement. I'm going to kind of just pick one here at random. Let's say 45 years or older. And we're going to go over to the additional info underneath advanced. You're going to have the WQL alias. This is going to be the field name that WQL needs to pull this particular field back in our select statement. So we'll just add this to our fields. The CF for calculated field, 45 years or older, from all workers. We'll try that again and we'll see the data come back. Perfect. I have my Boolean coming back. Now I can use my updated SQL query, WQL query, excuse me, to use this in a PMD page and an integration. So first, let's jump over to a test application here. I have a page that has just our hello world information on there. And then we're going to do a inbound endpoint on the page load tab. I've created a WQL endpoint, gave it a name. The URL is going to be the one that we pull from the REST API. As you'll see here, it's going to be this particular URL, the gateway, WQL v1 data, and then our parameter is going to be the query itself. So if we go back over to our app, URL matches up, and then you can either add this into the query, or you can add a query ID for a WQL query component that if you've created that separately. I have already done that. Essentially, this is all it really comes down to. It's limiting it to 100 of these workers coming back and has my additional field in there. So now I can use this query in a PMD page. So off of the query tab on a WQL endpoint, all I need to do is put in the ID of my WQL query test. And now we can see this come through on my page preview. And there's all my data in a very jumbled way. But now I am getting it, and I can use that data however I need to. Now let's jump over to an orchestration. This one is even simpler. We're just going to use the send Workday API request using that same URL, WQL v1/data. My query parameter is going to be that query, and then just slap in that same select statement. And then I can test this using my fun little debugger. Connect to my tenant. and click play. And it's as simple as that. Now my send workday API request is now retrieving my data using WQL, and I can use that again in any way, shape, or form. That's been a super quick crash course on finding WQL data sources and fields and using them in your integrations and apps. Thank you guys, and we'll see you at the next one.